Hello again. Having visited the Fitzroy Square area of London, I thought I'd like to have a look at the one at the other side of the world, in Australia. Fitzroy is an inner suburb of Melbourne, Victoria, and is now part of the local government area of the city of Yarra. Planned as Melbourne's first suburb in 1839, it later became one of the city's first areas to gain municipal status in 1858. It was named after Sir Charles Augustus Fitzroy, the Governor of New South Wales from 1846 to 1855. He was born in England. His grandfather, the 3rd Duke of Grafton, was Prime Minister of Great Britain from 1768 to 1770. He was a 6th-generation descendant of King Charles II. The surname Fitzroy stems from this illegitimacy. Charles's half-brother Robert Fitzroy would become a pioneering meteorologist and surveyor. However, he achieved lasting fame as the captain of HMS Beagle during Charles Darwin's famous voyage to Tierra del Fuego and the Southern Cone. Robert later became Governor of New Zealand. Anyway, after that little diversion, back to Fitzroy. This is the original City of Fitzroy Town Hall. However, in 1994, the City of Collingwood, the City of Richmond and the City of Fitzroy were amalgamated to form the City of Yarra. The housing in Fitzroy is very diverse. It has some of Melbourne's earliest surviving houses and one of Melbourne's most extensive stands of terraced housing. Amongst the earliest homes are the Royal Terrace seen here. This is on Nicholson Street, overlooks the Carlton Gardens. Royal Terrace was one of the first of its kind in Melbourne. It hasn't really changed very much over the years. Many of the 19th century properties in the area boast some beautiful wrought iron work. In the middle of the 19th century, it became fashionable to use cast iron when manufacturing ornamentation. Much of the raw material came from England as ship's ballast, so it was cheap to produce. And after the Victorian gold rush, which began in 1851, the demand for decorative balustrades and upmarket lacework, especially on terraced houses, exploded with the increase in population. And as you can see, its popularity continues today. Fitzroy is one of Australia's hippest neighbourhoods. The long history and diversity of residents over the years have played their part too in its cultural and demographic diversity. Fitzroy is home to live music, artists and galleries. Melbourne is considered one of the world's leading street art cities, and many of the buildings in Fitzroy are splashed with large murals, transforming the suburb into a free public gallery. Fitzroy is very close to Melbourne city centre, or the CBD as everyone refers to it, the Central Business District. This is one of my very favourite cities, and I'm just going to pick out a few of the bits I like the best. Home to Indigenous Australians for over 40,000 years, the Melbourne area serves as a popular meeting place for the local Kulin Nation clans, who called it Birrarunga, meaning place next to the Yarra River. In June 1835, John Batman, who came from Van Diemen's Land, now known as Tasmania, explored the area and claimed to have negotiated a purchase of 600,000 acres. He selected a site on the northern bank of the Yarra River, declaring that this would be the place for a village. The town was therefore known briefly as Batmania, but the settlement was renamed Melbourne in 1837 by Richard Burke, the governor of the time. It was named after the British Prime Minister William Lamb, 2nd Viscount Melbourne, whose seat was Melbourne Hall in the market town of Melbourne, Derbyshire. In 1851, 4 years after Queen Victoria declared it a city, Melbourne became the capital of the new colony of Victoria. Melbourne is home to many of Australia's best known landmarks, such as the Melbourne Cricket Ground, the National Gallery of Victoria, and the World Heritage listed Royal Exhibition Building. Noted for its cultural heritage, it has more recently been recognised as a UNESCO City of Literature and a global centre for street art, live music and theatre. It hosts major events such as the Australian Grand Prix and the Australian Open. It also hosted the 1956 Summer Olympics and the 2006 Commonwealth Games. In the 2010s, Melbourne consistently ranked as the world's most livable city. Its main metropolitan rail terminus is Flinders Street Station, and under the clocks at Flinders Street is a popular meeting place in the city. On the opposite corner is Young and Jackson, one of the city's oldest pubs and still hugely popular. The hotel is well known for the nude painting Chloe, painted by French artist Lefebvre in 1875. After being hung in the National Gallery of Victoria for 3 weeks in 1883, it was withdrawn from exhibition because of the uproar created especially by the Presbyterian Assembly. It was bought for the hotel in 1908 for £800. Melbourne loves to get dressed up. Here is Flinders Street Station in party mood. Across the road from the station is Federation Square, a venue for arts, culture and public events. It incorporates major cultural institutions such as the Australian Centre for the Moving Image and the Koori Heritage Trust, as well as many cafes and bars. So this is what it looks like by day, and this is what it looks like by night. I think this would be a New Year's Eve celebration. Melbourne is a hugely diverse city, being home to people of many ethnicities and cultures. Most of the different ethnicities celebrate their particular heritage at some time or another during the year. It is also home to an international comedy festival every year, visited by comedians from all over the world. The central business district is built on a grid system, with the various streets being linked by a maze of little alleyways, most of them full of places to eat and drink. In many of these you will find evidence of the city's famous street art, and this is worth a separate investigation, which I think we'll come to next. So join me again soon when we'll look at the lanes and the fascinating artwork within them. Bye for now.